Hello and welcome to Bulls on Parade Talk, providing you with Houston Texans coverage 365 days a year. I'm your host, Joshua Saenz. I know I've been very quiet on this channel ever since my last video that described all the changes that I would make for this show. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out that video. But anyway, a lot has happened since that video. The biggest news is that I got a new full-time job. So aside from going to work every day, Monday through Friday, I've been spending majority of my activity for this show on the podcast, on TalkShoe.com, and on bullsonparadetalk.blogspot.com, the website. So if you haven't gotten the chance to check out my latest coverage of OTAs, be sure to head over to the website and the podcast to listen and read up on all that. And not to worry though, videos are coming soon, especially once the NFL season actually starts. I've actually been working on the content and format for these pregame and postgame videos. I thought I'd take the time today to show all of you a little sneak peek so you can get an idea of what you're going to see every pregame and postgame video. YouTube, as some of you might be aware, will not allow content displayed on videos that basically isn't their own without permission, hence copyright infringement. So obviously I can't put actual game footage on my videos. And I recently purchased a subscription to NFL Game Rewind, giving me the ability to watch NFL games on my own time, including coaches film. But I decided to use a different visual method for breaking down certain plays during a game, good or bad. And here it is. For this preview, I decided to show you a breakdown of one of my favorite plays in the West Coast offense. I'm sure that there are many out there that remember Gruden's quarterback camp session with Andrew Luck a few years ago. So this play that I'm going to break down might be familiar to all those that watched that Gruden's QB camp episode. So let's go over Spider 2 and Spider 3 Y Banana really quick. It's a play action pass made to look like a strong side power run. The offensive line will all slide either left or right, depending on the protection that is called. Spider simply means slide protection. Spider 2 means slide to the left. Spider 3 means slide to the right. Y banana is the route combination, which basically says the wide receiver, typically the strong side tight end or slot receiver, runs a corner route, while the closest weak side receiver runs a 5-yard underneath route. The primary receiver is always the fullback. This is because the running back's responsibility is to cut block the defender responsible for the fullback, pretty much giving him a lot of space to work with in the flat. This pretty much always guarantees that the fullback will be open until they take it away. And if they do take it away, then you look at your secondary receiver, which is the backside under. Now, occasionally you'll get man-to-man alert or blown coverage, which is where the banana route comes in, as well as the backside comeback route, or the Venus, as it's termed, on the backside as well. So that's basically what Spider 2 and Spider 3 Y Banana is all about. Now, let's see it in action. Here's a breakdown of a play in the fourth quarter of USC versus 6th-rated Stanford during the 2011 college football season. At the time, it was one of the most anticipated matchups of the season, Matt Barkley versus Andrew Luck. It's late in the fourth quarter, 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. 3rd down and 3 on the Stanford 23-yard line. Stanford has the ball, and the score is tied at 27-27. What a game. The offensive formation is green left slot or I left slot, depending on the team's terminology. Concepts are still the same. It's an I formation, 2 backs, 1 tight end, 2 wide receivers. The route is Spider 3, so offensive line slides right, Y banana. And who did we say the primary was? The fullback. And who's the secondary receiver? Always the underneath. So based on how the defense is lined up at the moment, what's your first thought if you were the quarterback? I'll tell you what mine would have been. man-to-man coverage. And based on the route combination displayed here, what routes are man alerts here? Well, first of all, let me ask this question. Why would you say man-to-man? Well, I see one safety deep, and the two defenders on the right are lined up on top of my receivers with a little bit of a cushion. So right there, I think, okay, that means that I'm going to have a chance to hit the backside Venus, which is a comeback, which is a man beater, or hit my banana. But there's a lot of space on the weak side, so there's not going to be any problems getting this ball out there as long as I can get it in there on time, right? So your man alerts are your Y and X, your banana route and your V and the backside Venus. I'd also include the Z receiver if he's able to create enough separation at the start of his route. But let's run the play really quick and let's see what actually happened. It looks like the defense rolled to cover 3, meaning 3 deep defenders responsible for 1/3 of the field. So in zone coverage, typically that means that pretty much everyone's eyes are on the quarterback. Speaking of the quarterback, he looked at X the whole way. He never even looked at the primary. He never even looked at his primary. He took 5 steps back, added an extra unnecessary hitch, thus missing the timing of the throw to the X receiver that probably wouldn't have worked anyway, considering he's not part of the initial progression. But because of that, the weak side defender, the corner responsible for that deep third, saw it the whole way and was able to break on the ball, intercept it, and return it for a touchdown, giving USC the late lead. Again, looking at the play and how it developed, I ask you all to look at the primary and how open he got. This is why it's important to read the progressions that a quarterback practices and not make your own progressions, because that's when mistakes happen. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's just one example of how these pregame and postgame videos will look like once the games are actually played. Once the film has been studied after each Texans game, I'll pick a few plays of my choice from the game and break them down as clearly as I can, just like how you saw in the preview. Now, if there is a certain play or situation you want me to break down in the future, feel free to let me know and I'll make a separate video for breakdown requests. So tell me in the comments what you thought of the breakdown. I always appreciate any feedback, you know. Did it look good? Is it not as good? Could it be better? What could it be? What could I do to improve it? You know, just anything like that. If you did enjoy the video, though, please leave a like before you go. I always do appreciate that. Be sure to keep up with the talk by following me on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thank you, by the way, to those that have, as well as visiting my website, bullsonparadetalk.blogspot.com. Also, stay tuned for the latest live episodes coming up on my podcast. Lots of good discussions on there. Links for all that will be in the description below. I hope to see you on there if you're not already. In the meantime, guys, this is your host, Joshua Signs from Houston, home of the Texans, saying so long and see you next time right here on the Bulls on Parade Talk.